There is so much hope. After you watch this video, you're going to know how to cure wetting the bed. In another video, I talked about the causes of bedwetting. What causes it? It comes down to two primary causes: a deficiency in antidiuretic hormone, which is the hormone that dries us up when we're sleeping. If you don't have enough of that, then you're going to have a need to get up and go to the bathroom at night. And the other cause has to do with deep sleeping. We'll get into that a little more in detail today because that's one that we can really do something about. Both causes have to be present in order for bedwetting to occur, because if you got enough hormone, then you don't have to get up and go. If you're not sleeping so deeply, then you'll be able to get up and go when you get those signals. So when both are present, we have the condition. Now that gives us some ideas about how to cure it. All right, now for that, let's go to this diagram for just a minute. Your central nervous system, which is about your brain and all the nerves in your body, is set up to take good care of you. It's really programmed for efficiency because your brain has to take care of everything. You don't want to have to consciously think about everything that needs to happen. And so a lot of things are put onto autopilot. There's a little part of your brain here called the reticular activating system that's located near the brain stem, maybe down in this area of the brain, that is in charge of, shall we say, traffic control. It's directing traffic, it's telling you what to pay attention to and what to ignore, like your shirt, for example. Can you feel it? Yeah, it's obvious, huh? Now that I call it to your attention, but before I mentioned it, that part of your brain was telling you, hey, that's not important. Just ignore that. It's not important. Well, when I mentioned it, it suddenly became important, just like that. And now you can feel your shirt just fine. Your shoes, if you're wearing them. Oh yeah, there they are. Obvious, but completely unnoticed until I called it to your attention. This is important to notice because your brain has the ability to pay attention to things or to ignore certain things. Let's go to the bedwetting for a minute. When you're sleeping very deeply, the conscious part of your brain turns off. You are unconscious. That's how we define sleep. Not all of your brain turns off, just the conscious parts turn off while you're sleeping. The rest of the brain is still active and doing things all night long. And you go into different modes of sleep and different levels of sleep, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Just realize that there are parts of your brain that are still alive and well. What if we were to picture that in this part of the brain, I called this the reticular activating system, but let's just think of this as the command center. Now, down your spinal cord and into the nerves down here around the bladder. Now, I've drawn what kind of looks like a balloon here for the bladder because it's a pretty good analogy. The bladder is kind of like that balloon in that it collects the fluid that's coming in and it starts to stretch and expand. Now, as it stretches and expands, it triggers signals in the nerves that are attached to it. These signals get sent through these nerves up the spinal cord to the command center. We all know what it feels like to take a big drink of water in about, 15 to 30 minutes. What am I going to be feeling? Yeah, right? You've been there, you know. You get these feelings coming up. Strong signals from the bladder. The command center says, oh, this is important. Better take care of business before we have a problem. And it takes you to the bathroom, right? Okay, what about when we're sleeping? When we're sleeping, the bladder is still filling because we don't have enough of the hormone on board to slow it down like most people have. It's still filling. The signals go through the nerves to the spinal cord, get sent up here to the command center. And the command center, for whatever reason, is programmed to say, oh, that's not important enough. To go to all of the work of waking up the conscious centers of the brain that can take us to the bathroom. Not important. Let's just ignore it. Well, meanwhile, the bladder down here is like, really? I can't hold this for much longer. and it takes care of business on its own, and we got the problem. We're wetting the bed. So to cure it, there are medical treatments. Usually they are some synthetic version of the hormone that dries us up at night. And it's a one-time fix. It like dries you up for the night, but it doesn't fix the problem. What we want to do is train the command center to wake up the brain. Get up, this is important, let's take care of this. You know what? A lot of the kids that I've worked with who are bedwetters have no problem waking up on Christmas morning or on their birthday or on that day where they get to go to the zoo. You know why? Because their brain is telling them, oh, this is important. This is worth getting up for. It's not doing that with the signals from the bladder. All we got to do is condition it. Do you remember Pavlov? Any introductory psych class is going to talk about Pavlov's dogs. Pavlov was a scientist, a psychologist really, who was studying, or a physiologist maybe, but anyway, he was studying the reaction that dogs had. He would ring a bell, and the dog was like, what? It's a bell. No big deal, right? Then he would ring the bell, and he would do a little puff of meat powder into the dog's mouth. And the dog's like, oh, and the dog would start to salivate because the meat powder causes the dog to salivate. That makes sense, right? Ding, bell, no response. Poof, meat powder, big response. Ding, no response. Poof, meat powder, big response. Well, pretty soon, ding, big response. Why? Because the dog was conditioned that when the ding goes off, I'm going to get a puff of meat powder. It starts to anticipate that. It's called classical conditioning. This is an old concept that we're going to use to overcome the bedwetting. So what we want to have happen, this is the ding down here, okay? The signals from that bladder are like the bell, ding. And right now the brain, while it's sleeping, is saying, oh, that's not important. That's irrelevant. That's not significant at all. What we want to do is create a training effect that has the brain saying, ding, oh, time to move. Got to get some business taken care of right here. All right, that's the classical conditioning that we're going for. Now, how are we going to do that? I've written an entire training program around this. Warning, it requires positivity and commitment. Okay? Share this video with your child or whoever it is that you're trying to help with the bedwetting. If it's you, then get a team together, share this video with them, and then get a hold of my training program, finallydry.info. What you're going to get there is an ebook, basically it's a PDF, you can download it immediately, that has the whole training program outlined. There are exercises and programs that you're going to go through. Read the whole thing. Let me know if you have some questions. I'm happy to help you. But here's how it works. It requires an alarm too, and you're going to have to look for an alarm system that allows you to detect when there's a wetting incident. So I brought my cute little underpants alarm here. Now this particular model is designed with a strip that goes along the inside of the garment. These two snap leads connect to a little battery-powered alarm. Okay? Kind of like this. It's designed so that if there is any kind of moisture that gets into that, listen to that. Oh yeah! We got like 100 decibels. Hang on. We got like 100 decibels right there, okay? This is important because that's the ding, all right? Actually, it comes right after the ding because just before the alarm goes off, the body, the brain, is sensing those signals from the alarm, but it's from the bladder, I mean, but it's ignoring them. The alarm typically won't wake up the child. This is what my research showed. They're going to sleep right through it. But who's going to wake up? Oh yeah, mom, dad, support team. It's going to wake them up, and then they are going to wake up the child. It's all explained in the training program. But basically, we're going to do this enough with some of the exercises that are built into the training program We're going to do this enough to train the command center to respond not to this alarm, to that alarm. The one that's coming up from the bladder. And it takes, I said that there were some warnings, okay? You have to do this with positivity and commitment because it's going to take, my experience is, anywhere from 3 or 4 nights up to 10 or 15 nights to get the training effect. There's a couple of other things that might surprise you. Sometimes people address this bedwetting problem by restricting fluids before bed, right? You don't get to have a drink after 7 o'clock or whatever. Actually, in the training program, we encourage fluid intake. Why? Because I want a really clear signal. You know how sometimes it's like, oh, do I need to go or not? I don't know. I could go, maybe not. Yeah, no. We want the signal to be, oh, okay, strong. So we actually encourage fluid intake together with the other training elements that allow us to start to train this command center to respond to the signals from the full bladder. And it doesn't happen immediately. You're going to have some wetting incidents, okay? Be ready for that, expect it, and that's not a bad thing. It actually helps with our training program. You're going to need to find you an alarm system. There's a lot of these on the market. Find one that's within your budget. I prefer the kind that are installed right in the underwear because you get a quicker response, you get a quicker bell than the ones that are in a pad on the bed or that have to go through multiple layers before they get to the signal. So find an alarm system that you can work with, get that on board, get a hold of the ebook, finallydry.info, go through the training program, get your team assembled, and let's take this on. I know that it works. We've tested it through research and clinical experience. This is something that we can get on top of. And I am honored to be on your team. Let's take it on. This is going to be some work. Stay positive, get connected to that ebook because that's where the training program is. Remember, finallydry.info.